Hello, Kevin Kenny here for the Build Series, live in New York City. We're about to be joined on stage by a group whose debut album comes out this Friday if you're joining us live. August 2nd is the release date. It's called Emergence, the Process of Coming into Being. Please let's give a very warm Build welcome to Mwenso and the Shakes. Welcome to Build, guys.
Thank you, thank you.
First time ever. This is exciting.
Very, very much.
I think the last time we had this many people on stage was New Kids on the Block. So you're in good company. No, thank you so much for stopping by. I wanted to actually start with the title, Emergence, the Process of Coming into Being. This is it's probably a tall task naming a debut project. A lot of thought goes into that. How'd you come up with this title?
Well, we have definitely grown and evolved, and we've all been on very personal journeys in the last few years, and I felt that this was a great documentation of our emergence, not only emerging, but also the trajectory of how we are dealing with the spirit of emergence, and also how that has also propelled us to being more of ourselves.
Right. Now, how does everybody's journeys and hardships and all personal experiences that you just alluded to right there, how does that make its way into the music?
Vuyo, you tell me something.
Well, I think, I think whenever we are together, our greatest responsibility when we're playing music is to be as honest as you can be, right? Because that is all you can bring. Right? If we even, I guess within the context that we would describe our music, jazz music, you have to be true in order for there to be some communication or there has to be a level of honesty. And I think every single time and every single season we've gone through individually has affected the way in which we play these compositions. And every time we experience something, the lyrics become new and the stories become clearer for each of us individually. And that kind of translates in what we do either at rehearsal or on stage.
That honesty you speak of, right, that is such a necessity to great music. Is that something that came naturally to everybody, or was that something that you had to master as artists?
You have to first master as a human being, and then that will connect to your artistry. I think for us, everything comes first from a human standpoint of how we have connected. We're all from different places of the world. Me, I was born in Sierra Leone. Of course, Vuyo's from South Africa. She's from around the corner. Russell's from Kingston, Jamaica. And Matisse is from many places, Scotland and Madagascar. So the honesty of our journey and the differences, like you said, is what gives us the ability to only be honest.
Right. So would you guys all attest to that? You need to first master the art of honesty as a person before you can as an artist?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just not as authentic.
But
it's not real honesty. If you can't
Right.
be honest as a human being, how could it possibly translate artistically?
do you ever find, though, as an artist, that sometimes you have a bit more confidence and maybe less inhibitions when you're making music and you're making art than you do maybe in your everyday life?
Sure, but that I feel is different from just being honest as a
Right.
human. It's honest to be very confident in one place and not in another place of your life. That's an honest emotion.
Yeah.
But it's really about being honest with who you are spiritually,
Yeah.
I think, is what we're talking about. Yeah.
Would you say out of all the different disciplines of music, all the different genres that exist in the world today, does jazz require the greatest amount of communication and rapport?
It's one of the deepest ones to deal with. I don't like to ever be like and say it is the only one. All music and all art is really of that level. And if you're really trying to get to it, you have to master that. But I would say that jazz music probably is the most deeply challenging in the sense of that it deals with the trinity of your spirit. It deals with the intellect of your spirit and how the music is something to listen to deepen and widen your intellect. Then spiritually it does. It builds your soul up. And physically, it's also a music that can move you. So, but jazz is definitely one of the greatest because of the span and the wideness of the people that played it and where they came from. You don't really have so much music that was created that all different types of people in the whole world tried to play it, you know. So
that's what's so fascinating for me is that you guys are from all over the world, but you each gravitated towards this form of music. Do I have it right that you first really sort of had this jazz awakening in London?
yes, very true. I was born, as I said, in Sierra Leone. And when I was 10, 11 years old, my mother, we moved to London, England. She got married, and he passed away in a car crash. And then it was out of that moment that really music came into my life. You know, my mother was a single mother and brought me up on her own. And she struggled, you know, with all the different things she was dealing with of trying to bring up a child. But through that experience of deep loneliness, of growing up as a child in London, being the only child, and you know, losing your stepfather and seeing your mom struggle, that loneliness is what kind of propelled me to try and create what you're seeing here. You know,
A family of sorts.
I wanted a family, so I had to find one. So out of the sadness, you connect it to happiness. You changed it, you change it, you change it, you change it.
Right.
You flip the script. If something sad happened to you as a child, you have the adulthood to now change it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did everyone, I'd love to go down the line because I bet everyone's story is different. That's how, of course, you discovered jazz and what led you to the music. What led everyone else to the music?
Well, yeah, I kind of came into jazz a little bit later. Living in Kingston, Jamaica, I was a child actor, so that was basically my whole life up until then. And then coming into the States, I lived in Miami, and it's where I didn't have no friends, so I lied and said that I played the electric bass, and I was like, all right, let's just figure this out. And turns out that their father was a drummer and singer in the Commodores. And,
Oh, my God.
you know, from there, started playing the electric bass and then the upright bass, and I never looked back. So, yeah.
For me, I first was interested by improvising on a piano when I was about 3.5. I was born in France, but at the time, my family was living in Pittsburgh. And then I kind of been doing piano ever since. And first, it was my interest in self-expression on the piano that interested me. And then I moved back to France in a town called Fontainebleau. And yeah, it was classical music and it was cool, but there was this part of self-expression which kind of ties in and what we're talking about, being honest and wanting to let these things out. And that's what drove me back to jazz. And then from then on, I moved to England. And I went to a boarding school for music called Chet's. And then I came to America where I met everyone and became roommates with Russell.
Down in
was
Miami?
quite an
No,
experience.
not in Miami, in New York. And
Okay.
there's other
Way up in 172nd Street is a whole different.
Give away the address.
We used to call it the hot box. There was no
There's
AC.
no air conditioning in this house, and there's 5 other people that live there, and they're young jazz musicians. So just because it is something that creates the intellect and spirituality now doesn't mean that when you go to their house it's the same thing.
It wasn't, yeah.
Would you guys play? Would you rehearse at all in this hot box?
yeah.
Oh
We
my
did
God.
everything there, man. I mean,
Yeah.
and anybody would be there.
Yeah,
Yes,
really.
great parties there too.
Oh man.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That was one of the many places. There was always a house where we always kind of ambushed.
Yeah.
For a number of years, you know, before we found Michaela, who now we have ambushed her and we all live in a house for life.
Lucky her.
I
Right?
know. we would ambush people. So at first it was another person. Then Russell took it, even though we didn't want to be there because that aircon was not happening.
Yeah.
But we've had many houses where we have wanted to bring community to,
Right.
and that's really
But what a great training ground, right? You guys will never complain about a venue ever being too hot or too themed or too small. It's like we played the hot box, all
yes,
right?
the hot box.
The hot box.
Every night.
I think as long as we're in it together,
Yeah.
whatever we're in,
Yeah.
as long as we have each other, it could be hot, it could be cold. We're
We've
gonna
had a
be
lot of
fine.
experiences
We're gonna be
together.
shaking.
So, I mean, this bond, right? Was this something that was formed through music, or was the bond created and then that's what led to the music? Because this was all this began, I guess, after you got the gig at
Jazz at the Center.
you were curating at Lincoln
Yeah.
Center, right?
Yes,
About
yeah.
2012?
Mm-hmm, you
Okay.
good. I was asked by Wynton Marsalis to come work at Jazz at the Center. Great blessing of my life. And And through being there, really, that Jazz Nigga Center was a connection for all of us. It connected all of us. It was a place where I was very blessed to present and curate music and to learn the craft of what really evolved to be in the Shakes. And that is where I found all these incredible people. But we're very blessed. We've had the ability to find each other within an environment. To find someone without actually having a location is hard.
Yeah.
But to have a place where you found people and then there's a place where you can be, it's heaven.
Yeah.
So we were very lucky. And we've just taken that and tried to put it around the world in a certain way of, dealing with the music, but not only jazz music, but trying to learn a way to play all the music. Rhythm and blues, funk, soul, jazz, African music. We are trying to play the music in a way that not only deals with messages of believing in yourself and overcoming through our own journeys, but also a way that doesn't reject any of the musical ancestors. So that's what we're trying to do.
What the who introduces the idea of starting this group? Do you remember that? Was that like a gradual conversation? Or was that just it was a one big hang at the hot box and then a deep conversation led to this?
That's an interesting question. Well, I think it never was said. It just
Right.
became.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best. No one ever said, we're going to start a band.
Yeah.
We just
Looked around one day. I guess we're a
we're
band.
going to start a band. It just was, okay, this is the vibe, and I want to be with you for a long time in my life, and let's do it.
In the movie, though, they'll simplify with a C.
Yes, the movie's coming out very soon. I can't give you
Album
the date.
first, scene in the
Album
movie.
first. Yes.
Speaking of which, it's out if you're watching us live right here. It's out in a few days, August 2nd. It
It's
comes
out Friday.
Yes, Friday, August 2nd.
You can get it.
2019 if you're watching this in the future.
Yes.
And then August 1st, which is tomorrow, you're doing something really cool at the Chelsea Music Hall, which I didn't realize how new of a venue it was. I've been there plenty of times. I'm actually going there tonight for a show.
For what? What show?
It's MTV's doing a show there tonight, which is kind of cool. And but it's a very small, intimate venue.
It is.
And what are you guys going to be doing there tomorrow night?
We're gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
It's our album launch. It's taken us 20 years to do it. Literally, people have been saying, "When's the album coming out?" People get so upset with us, but we finally did it, and we recorded it at a beautiful venue in Baltimore that we also very closely connected to. Josh Kahn, shout out. But tomorrow we're gonna get wild. We normally get wild. But we have some extra surprises. We have some dancers. I've always wanted dancers, from seeing James Brown and then seeing the videos of Duke Ellington. I always wanted dancers. Michaela is more like an artistry. She doesn't only dance. She sings. She does this. She does that. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we have to get some other people because you're doing everything. So we have some. We have. They're just there, just the boogie, and they've been great. We've done a lot of shopping. Have some incredible costumes. That we're very excited about.
Any pyro?
Not yet.
Possibly.
Yeah, not
A
yet.
sparkler?
Oh, we're gonna have a smoke machine.
Oh, there you go.
There
now
you
we're
go.
talking.
You see?
We're going to crank the AC all the way down.
Yeah, like the
Right?
hot box.
Exactly.
Yes.
You got to patent that right now.
So that's tomorrow. That's tomorrow.
Cool.
8:30. Chelsea Music Hall, and you better be there. It's gonna be incredible.
That's going to be a really cool show. You're also headlining, I believe it's the Charlie Parker Jazz Festival.
Yes,
It's summer at the Summer Stage, August 23rd.
23rd, you're amazing. Yeah, 23rd, we'll do it. That's a whole nother project of an incredible 32 city tour that we're doing called Harlem 100, which is celebrating again all of these incredible musical ancestors, Fats Waller, Louis Armstrong, people of that period that we're trying to present their music in a new way that also pays respect, but also puts a little other vibe on it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's how you get new jazz fans.
Of
You know what I
course.
mean? Totally.
Of course.
I love that. All right, let's get to. We got some fan questions, which is pretty cool. The
You
first
do?
is going to come from Section C, which I always get. There it is. That's Section C.
Hi, Section C.
Hi, how's it going? Between right here in front of me and the music video, and you mentioned costumes coming up tomorrow night. You guys look so damn cool. I'm wondering what your style inspiration is and how it influences your music or vice versa.
Okay, I'll answer, but I'll also let someone else answer because that's a very beautiful question. Thank you. It has evolved. We didn't always look like this. If you would, I have evolved too. I look at pictures of me from 5 years ago, and I was a different person in a sense of just how I presented myself. We've tried to what has happened with us is that we've tried to deal with more colors. We've tried to deal with more of a tradition in the sense of why we're wearing colors. We like to wear a lot of colors that maybe connect with the Orishas, you know, and what colors they deal with, red, yellows. We have also themes. We do African themes. We do what else, Michaela? Who is really like our secret fashion stylist, as you can tell.
Well, now we have super cat suits.
Super cat suits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically just evolved with us throughout the years, and we've gotten freer and freer and freer in how we're choosing to present ourselves and represent ourselves.
Because style is connected again to you. Like if you ain't free, you can't dress in a certain way, you know, and you want to cover yourself, you wear a certain way. So clothes is, as much as it covers us, it really shows us too. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Great question. We have time for one more, they're telling me. And
Uh-oh.
it'll come from right next door.
I wanted to ask, how do you guys go about adding your own individual ideas into the music when working in a group?
I'm gonna let someone else do that.
Sometimes that just happens when we're just playing together. You know, let's say we're making a soup together, and then someone say, "Yo," with noodles, and then someone says, let's put some mushrooms inside it. You know, and that's a valid thing. And some broccoli. Yeah. Some people would say, let's put some chicken in it, but then some of us are vegan.
You're vegan.
But it's usually, it's always open to, in a rehearsal process, someone say, we should do this, and then we try it, and then usually that's how it goes about. Just saying on the spot what needs to happen.
Yeah, I'm really just the conductor, really, and I don't have to do too much because Russell, you know, he really is a guide to how the music and what we do. And, you know, a lot of times we have a lot of people that we bring in. This is not just the band, ladies and gentlemen. This is a quarter. There's about 9 to 10 of us, and a lot of times people come in and out, but you can always rely on Russell because he also is like a guide of the music, and it's very enlightening to be a leader and then to have the ability to have someone you trust you can leave it to. Thank you for that question.
Guys. We're unfortunately out of time. That went by
was
too fast. Arguably.
What?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We might need. You guys will have the film after the album. We'll have a sequel when you come back.
We'll do that. We better do
good?
that.
All right. Again, the album Emergence, process of coming into being. The debut effort from Mwenso and the Shakes is out everywhere. August 2nd. That's a Friday. That's this Friday if you're with us live. One more time for the group, everybody.